Quite a while back I bought this from one of our wood supplies retailers. It's a little spoke wheel of 50mm or 2 inches across, but $6.50 Australian. I mean, it doesn't take long for that sort of thing to add up. No, I'm a bit miserly, so I've had in mind to think about how do I make these myself. Well, that's what this video is about. There's prototype number one, not quite setted. I mean, the challenge is to get that inner circle perfectly aligned with the outer circle of the wheel. Number two was more successful, so I'll show you how I did it. First stage of this is to make the axle hub in the middle. Now for this I'm just using a 20mm hole saw. Now that'll give me a 16mm wide axle hub, because I'm aiming for a 2-inch wheel, which is what that is, 2-inch or 50mm wheel. Well, now I need to just clean up these axle hubs. I use my little drill lathe for that. I put a bit of a smooth sort of round on the end of it. You can see on this one it's got this fine crack through it. I may discard that one. In fact, I made up something like 30 of these in order to get 20, and I've already come across some others too, the same, where bits chip out and crack. When you're using old recycled timber, you've got to be ready for this sort of thing. Now the other thing to take notice of here is that I'm using a bamboo skewer, or actually a packet of bamboo skewers for my spokes. Very cheap, pick them up at any supermarket. They work out at 3mm, they're pretty round, they're good. So use a 3mm drill bit to make the holes. The little jig for putting the spoke holes in is very simple. I've just used a block of wood here, just glued it to a piece at the base, another piece at the back that I could put a clamp onto, a 6mm hole with a 6mm dowel because that's the size of my axle hole. And you can see on here I've just drawn lines at 45 degrees to each other, so that'll give me 8 spokes all up. It's simply a matter of lining it up. I keep it attached to a fence here that's fastened down, and by putting the axle hub on there and having a line marked, which is just in here on the, what you see is the brown wood, the brown jarrah, then I can simply turn it to each of the marks on the background and drill all the holes. The big thing here is that occasionally the drill bit will follow a grain, and so as I've said previously, be prepared to chuck some away along the way. So simply line it up, mark to mark, drill the hole. The next task is to create our rim. Now this is a several stage process, beginning with 12mm. I've marked out where I want my holes to be to drill the wheel rims out, but I begin with doing a fine hole through each of these first. I've taken a bit of scrap 12mm here and I've marked halfway with a pencil line. I've then set a Forstner bit to stop at a depth on that line, so about halfway through the 12mm. Now this Forstner bit corresponds to the inside diameter that I want on here, where the wheel spokes will sit. We then follow up with a 54mm hole saw, which will give us the 50mm external diameter of our wheel. Later, but not yet, I want to drill a 32mm hole through that side. So for now, I'm just going to mark it so I can see the outline of where it'll go. You'll see why in a moment. Now the shop bought wheel is just rounded like so. I suppose that's easier to mass produce. But I'd like to put a bit of a tread and a bit of a profile on the front. I need to do it at this stage before I cut out the large hole in the middle. I'll show you why. Well, it's back to the drill press and time to put our hole down through the middle. Now the most critical part of this is this jig here. This enabled us to get aligned the axle hub to the outer rim. Now I've just taken a bit of 12mm scrap and a compass set to a 16mm radius, and I just draw a circle to start with. The axle hubs are 16mm across, so I'm using a 16mm Forstner bit to drill a hole about 2/3 of the way through. Now if what you get doesn't look like the centre circle is concentric with the outer circle you've drawn, do it again. This bit is critical. I find that one barbecue skewer like this will do enough of the spokes for one wheel. Just cut them into random, about 1 inch to start with pieces. Work from there. So here's the end result. I ended up doing 12mm wheels on the front and 13mm on the back. I just thought it gave a better balance. But I mounted them on the 1932 Scammell's truck from Ash's workshop. For the build for this particular truck you can see in the link below, and I'll do that there. The original Scammell truck of course didn't come with spoke wheels. It came with solid metal wheels. But hey, it's a toy, it's not a model, and I just thought it looked appropriate on this era of truck. So they're fiddly to make, I know, pre-prepared to chuck some out that don't work, but I hope you enjoy the process. See ya.